Hey, hello. Good evening, everybody. Hey, listen, I know I'm just giving a couple of seconds, and today we're going to talk about men being the gatekeepers of marriage. And whoever pops on will be kind of quick, and you can come up and we can chop it up. Uh, I know it's early for a lot of folks, but happy Martin Luther King Day. And let's remember the man for the good work that he's done and all the sacrifices that he's made. And hey, it's a good day. He's a man who deserves a holiday, that's for sure. And so, so to get started, I want to let everybody know where I stand in terms of men being the gatekeepers of marriage. I don't think there should be any question that in the days that we live in, men have acquiesced so much to the gynocracy, to women and everything else that I can't see men actually giving that one thing that we have, that one gate to tell a woman that you're going to be the person that I'm going to take care of for the rest of your life. I can't see a man acquiescing the power at the gate and the accountability at the gate to a woman. Now, they say that, some women may disagree with that. So if any women pop up on the thing, feel free to come up and we can chop it up later on. But so let me begin by saying, and I'm going to take you maybe a little bit around the world to get back to where I am on this thing. So I'm not going to, and then I'm going to show you a couple of videos and we can see, we can comment on the videos. Listen, men and women, right, as human beings, are the apex mammals and predators on the planet Earth, right? We might not be the most ferocious, like a tiger. We can't fight a tiger, for example, hand on hand, but we could actually exterminate them if we wanted to, right? Any animal on this face of the earth, no matter how dangerous they are, because we're humans, we can control the environment that they live in, right? So that's why we're the apex predators. It's also said that men are the apex predators of women. And in the West, right, the evil patriarchy has shown that is in its benevolence that they put laws in place, they put societal mores in place, they put everything in place to make it this the West the best place for women to live. And in America, I don't think there's any freer women in the whole world than they are here in America because that's what the patriarchy wants. That's what the laws say, right? You're protected as much as you can be. And matter of fact, women are protected so much, they test the system. They do things that take some of that protection away, like they go outside butt naked almost, right? That's not because the laws can't protect you, because common sense has left you because you take the laws for granted. And that men have acquiesced to those laws because it was the right thing to do. We will all have wives, mothers, sisters, daughters that we want them to be protected whether we're around or not, for the most part. And for the most part, men in the West have complied, right? Um, I think we've done a good job. Now, that doesn't mean that DV doesn't happen and other kind of things that doesn't happen to women. But for the most part, it's pretty tame. Most women are not afraid to go outside if they live in decent neighborhoods. And that's a good thing, right? I think everybody would say that that's a good thing. But it's not talked about and hardly ever addressed is that a woman is an apex predator against men. Women can destroy a man. Maybe it's not physical, but in all other ways, a woman can destroy a man commercially, privately, in marriages, mentally, all kinds of things. A woman has the ability to do that to a man without throwing a blow. And there's no laws really protecting men from that. Matter of fact, when women are caught lying, that might make a man spend years in jail or lose a job or lose millions of dollars. Very rarely do they get punished for that. Okay. And so where I'm leading, this is where I'm leading to. When a man marries a woman, when a man decides that the woman he has his eyes on is the woman for him, he has to make sure as best he can if that woman looks at him as her primary choice. Because anything less than that, this is a risk mitigator. There's no guarantees that you can vet that well. But for the most part, everybody who feels like they found a sufficient mate and the woman that they have is the one for them, and she proves to him that he's the one for her. Just as even if he's not conscious, he feels comfortable that she looks at him as her apex male, the one that she chooses. Because if a woman marries you because she thinks she's settled, she's always looking at the door. She's always looking to either monkey branch or utilize a dual mating strategy where she'll have sex with you, but she'll cheat on you and have sex during her ovulation period and have babies from another man. That's why our paternity fraud rate is upwards to like 30 something percent, because a lot of these women do that on purpose. And just a little side note, if your woman ever asks you that she wants to separate for, because she needs some space, you might as well divorce her, because the only reason why she's doing that is because she wants somebody to bust those cheeks. But here's the kicker. If she does that, if she gets pregnant by another man and say, separated for 2 years, by the rules of presumptive paternity, you still have to pay child support for that kid, even though it's not yours because you're still married. So never separate from a woman. If she's going to leave, you got to divorce her, and you got to make sure that divorce is fast, because she's like a open wound in your life. Because if she gets pregnant by anybody else, that guy can dip, and guess who's paying the freight? You are. So those laws are in all 50 states, by the way, and they have not changed yet. So just be aware of that. So getting back to the gate, man, you are the gatekeepers of marriage, and you're accountable for who you let in. It's as simple as that. There's no two ways about it. Here's where I'm gonna give you the difference between accountability and responsibility. I don't know who we got in it. I'm gonna go before I go. Let me see who we might have in the if anybody's in the chat, anybody's looking, say hello or whatever. Okay, so if you're a Red Planet, I see you good, man. All right, so I know Black Man's here. Anyway, hey man, welcome in Red Planet. Maybe you'll come up later on. Anyway, get back to where I was. Man, you're accountable for who you let in to your inner circle, that woman, right? If she turns out to be a bad actor, she's responsible for her actions. You're not responsible for her actions, but you are accountable for letting her in. It's as simple as that. There's no two ways about that. You can't get away from that because you opened the door. The only corollary that I could say is that a woman's accountable for who enters her womb. They don't want to take accountability for it, but it's still accountability just the same because the law says so. Whether they say so or not, the law says so. Because if that violated in all 50 states, it's a criminal act. Now, if a guy happens to get a woman pregnant, uh, they're both responsible for that baby, and a man can't get away from that. But she's accountable for her womb. That's the difference between accountability and responsibility. It's a very, very easy one when you put it in those terms. But getting back to marriage, so I can give you another analogy, and I think it works pretty well. And then I'm going to show a video, and then we could chop it up after that. Okay, so here's my analogy. I don't know. I like vampire movies. They don't make as good vampire movies now that they used to, but Salem Lot was a good one, and they had a couple. They have a couple on Netflix that I like. Now, vampires, when you're in your home, vampires can't hurt you because you have to let them in. So, and a lot of people look at vampires as monsters, but no, vampire comes calling, they knock on your door, and you open the door. Sometimes it's a very handsome man, and in our case, it'll be a beautiful woman. Vampires are beautiful beings. They're hypnotic, right? You look at a woman, and she's a vampire. She's got a nice round butt, perky breasts, beautiful kissing lips, and she looks at you with that gaze and that stare, and it's hypnotic. And this is why a man can't marry a woman just because he's enamored with her and just because it's love. It's got to be more than that, because if you marry a woman just because you fell in love with her or you feel the sex is good, she could be wearing a red dress with big black letters saying flag on it, and you'll miss it. You will miss it. And men do that all the time. So, getting back to the vampire analogy, if you let this woman in your house, this vampire in your house, she's not going to just go ahead and start biting your neck right away. You know, in a good vampire movie, you will realize that vampires like to play with their food. They play with their food. She'll come over. She might even let you bust the cheeks. She'll enamor you. She'll do all this kind of stuff, and she'll leave, and she'll come back another day and make you weaker and weaker. And then one day you'll come home, and she'll be sitting on your couch, and you'll be saying, "Well, shoot, I don't remember giving her a key." Well, you did give her a key. You let her in, right? She has carte blanche, and then maybe she'll seal the deal. Now, how is that different than a woman that you marry, who's waiting for the state that says our marriage is fully vested after 5 years or after 7 years, or like California after 10 years? So 10 years and one day, you come home one day and that divorce decree is on the table. And she said, I think I had enough. I'm not happy anymore. Right? That's the same thing as a vampire playing with their food. Now, you were accountable for letting this woman in, and that you didn't realize that she was only there for a temporary, stay, like Janet Jackson and her billionaire Arab guy. 10 years, after 10 years, she was gone. And she took whatever money she could and his son. Um, all I'm just trying to say is, men, you got to be very careful. Now, I'm not trying to scare you to death. I'm just saying you need to get to a level of discernment before you ask a woman to marry you. And if you can't do that, but you enamored with a woman, don't marry her. Just don't marry her. Just, do what a lot of the modern women do. Actually, just become a partner. You don't even have to live together. You get a piece of paper and you put on it partnership agreement. And then you put the do's and don'ts and the where's and the where for all, and you'll have a partnership. You come over 2 days a week and bust the cheeks, or you come, we'll share this and we'll share that, and just leave it like that. So, but the marriage vows, if you're not willing to follow them and the woman is not willing to fully vest in them, I'd say you have to keep the door closed. Now, getting to the point where a woman asks a man to marry her, how can when is that going to be feasible? Is she getting on her knees to tell you what she's going to do for you, or is she getting on her knees saying, "I'm tired of waiting for you, and you're going to commit to me whether you like it or not"? Right? I mean, that's not clear. It'll be muddy. They say 5% of women ask men to marry them. It's still a small number of the fact that marriage sucks these days anyway, in terms of the percentages. They say only 5% of these weddings happen where a woman asks a man to marry her. And that's still very low. And I hope it doesn't get too much higher, because I don't think it's the natural order of things. Because what a man is obligated to do in a marriage, a woman can't ask you to do that. You have to offer that. And one of the things, and I'll put this to bed, maybe whoever's in the audience, you want to come up, you could come up, we could talk about it, we could look at some of these videos. When a man asks a woman to marry him, you're asking her to be your queen. You're asking her to be your bottom woman, right? You asking her that you're making a commitment to her that you're going to be together forever. You're going to do everything you can to make sure she's safe, that that she has a house she can make a home into, that y'all could build something together. Y'all can have children. She can nurture the children. You'll feed the father of the children, and she's going to be your number one person and number one priority for the rest of her life. Okay. When a woman asks a man to marry her, it's just not clear, because women ain't used to saying what they're going to do for men. They're used to saying what a man's going to do for them. But the fact that you could make a woman your queen, the opposite is not true, because a woman can't make a man a king. A woman absolutely can't make a man a king. He's got to be a king already. So her asking him to marry her doesn't make him a king. Now, for any man who might be in the audience whose wife asked him and they said yes, I'm not going to pass. If it's working for you, great. Maybe you should come up and tell me why it's working for you. And so I can learn something. It just doesn't look like the natural order of things. So I'm not looking at the chat. So who might be in there? Okay. Anybody who might want to come up and let's chop it up. Let's do that. And we can show some of these videos. All right. Yeah. Play that.
Okay.
And you
That's
still
good.
being
You
ungrateful. You
see what I want.
all right, so let's say in an event I couldn't afford no wedding like that.
Then we wouldn't be getting married.
So that's what it's about.
That's
then.
exactly
It's about the money.
It's not about the money. It's about what I want, and what I want is.
But I thought what you wanted was me, though. I thought we was doing this for our love.
We can do that for love. That's
See, I just want to live like a normal little nice little happy quiet life, but she want to be all festive.
Yes, because I'm a festive person
and try to keep up with the Joneses. Like that's not what it's about. I don't even know
the Joneses. I'm a festive person, and I like to have the best, and I deserve the best. And that's what
social media.
Want to give me.
That social media stuff about your head.
Words, stop being cheap.
That social media stuff about your head.
Words, stop being cheap. I'm not getting married at no point.
I mean, nothing cheap about me, but I'm just saying.
That's like a joke right now.
We could be using those expenses for other stuff.
Okay, you can make more money for other stuff after we get my wedding that I want. So don't ask me to marry you. Don't ask me to marry you at your Oklahoma house.
So do you want to marry me or you want to marry my wife?
I want to marry at the venue that I picked out, and that's that. Like, there's nothing else really to talk about. You can give me what I want and don't give me nothing at all. You can marry somebody else at a courthouse. I'm not taking that from you. If you want to get married at a courthouse so bad because that's important to you, you can do it with somebody else.
It ain't. It's just why spend all the extra money for the
because
same?
That's what I want. That's what I want,
have,
and that's what I'm gonna have.
Right, so maybe further on down the line, maybe that could be that
do
could
it right
happen.
The first time and you don't gotta do it again. Do it right the first time. You don't have to do it again. If you want to get married at a courthouse, go do that with somebody else. Be cheap with somebody else. But if you want to be with me, you already know. I already said my piece. I said my piece. I'm not gonna keep talking about it because it's getting redundant.
I tell you, man, and I look at that video and I say to myself, would you marry? Just ask your own question. Would you marry that woman? They're not married right now. They were supposed to be on a cruise. I can't imagine how bad that cruise would turn out after that conversation. But if that guy goes on to marry her, then he's accountable for everything that happens to him after that. It's not going to end well. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I don't know. Is Mars in the back there or something? I don't know. You can bring him up. Or anybody who want to talk about a little bit. I don't know who's back there. But anyway, listen, that doesn't end well. And so that's what I'm talking about, the gate. If you're the gatekeeper, that guy should have ended that conversation and said, okay, we're not getting married. Right. And after that cruise was over, she would go her way and he should go his. But the way he was responding, he seemed like he's gonna fall. I mean, this could be a skit, right? It's probably a skit. And so sometimes the skits fall short because the guy always seems to be a loser in the skit. That's what I think. Hey, how you doing, bro? So the guy always. Did you saw the video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about the video?
He like you said, if he sticks it out with us, it's gonna be big trouble ahead. It's she looked like she's very tough to deal with.
Well, let me ask you a question. How did it even get that far? You think this is the first time she bucked up against him? You know what I'm saying? Whatever red flag she has, that can't be the first time she revealed it.
Be honest with you. When I look at relatives, I look at a lot of guys, cousins, friends. I think we get. I hate to say this, we get the low end of the deal, man. The women, not all women, but a lot of the women we deal with, man, we get the low end of the deal. We try to put up with it so that we can have a woman in our lives, and a lot of them are very selfish, self-absorbed, don't care, mouth off, argumentative. and really bring a lot of them, not all, a lot of them bring no value to the situation. A
But let
lot of
me
them, not
ask you a
all.
question, though. But Red Plant, let me ask you a question. You
Okay,
now you talking about married couples?
both.
If they're and let's just stick for married couples for a second.
Okay.
If a man marries a woman like that you just described, whose
hmm
fault is that?
Definitely the guy's fault, but there are a lot of women that do the deception thing. They'll hold out and play a role up until that ring goes on that finger.
You
I've
think
seen
there's
that.
that many women that good at actors and actresses? I mean, yeah, I understand the chameleon, right?
Look at all these
But you,
paternity fraud cases. They hold that behind the guy's head until they get mad at him just enough to say, "Hey, by the way, that little Ronnie's not your baby." Haha.
that's yeah, see now that's okay. That's a little side piece. I'm talking
You're
about the
you're gonna have to
I'm
stop
talking about the mentality.
hanging with us red pill guys, man.
I see. I don't disagree with you, but let's put it in buckets. Paternity fraud is a besides being a crime, it's a special case of a woman being
hmm
a chameleon, right? I'm just talking about
Yeah.
attitude wise first. We can get back to the paternity fraud, but attitude wise, if you're courting and vetting a woman over any appreciable amount of time, how can she really hide who she truly is? Something's going to happen that's going to trigger her. Maybe a waitress brings some food that ain't good, or she sees you talking to somebody. Something is going to trigger her to show you a little bit of who she really is. And then you have to decide whether it's just an aberration or this is something that she's been hiding from. So I'm
That's
just
true.
saying I can't really absolve. Now, nothing's perfect. Getting married to a woman is a risk. You have to vet her, and it's a risk mitigator, right? You just mitigate the risk because you can't eliminate. There's no guarantees.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there, but you're still accountable for saying, "Hey, honey, I'm gonna." It's all over. I want to propose. I'm gonna propose. I want you to marry me, right? She could say yes, or she could say no. And if you ever propose to a woman and she said no, you should thank her. You should thank her because she's telling you that even though she might like you, there's something about you that she couldn't live with for a lifetime. And so instead of saying I could take your resources, I could suck this guy dry, I don't want to marry him because he really doesn't do it for me, and I'm gonna end up doing something to hurt myself and him, at least hurt me morally and hurt him personally, right? End up cheating,
Yeah.
end up, just making his life miserable. And heaven forbid y'all have kids together. So if you propose to a woman and she says no, you're not going to take it this way when she says no, but she's doing you a favor. You don't know it. And then you go on to the next woman, right? So it's the yes. It's when they say yes. That's when the game is really on, right?
It's
I mean, that's a lot of better.
man. If you listen to all of, I say, not the manosphere or relationship shows,
Yeah.
all these women feel like they're settling, man. They feel like they're settling for every guy. Like you have to make six figures, a six pack. You have to be in shape and all. And these be chicks that are like 400 and 500 something pounds themselves. They aren't that great, I mean, I know, I'm not great myself, but the best thing in the world. But I mean, this is the thing, man. I'm not out here asking for Vanessa Williams or Cardi B or Erica Betta. I'm a realistic person. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right,
realistic, but
right.
you know what I mean. And they're not realistic by any stretch of the imagination. It's like everybody, they're too good for everybody. How are you too good for every man on the
Well,
planet? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
that's
but
what
this
I'm
that's not
seeing
yeah,
out here. That's
because you could be hypnotized. See, here's the problem, right? We're in this fishbowl called the internet, and depending on what panels you visit and what shows you look at, some shows just stay in the bottom of the barrel. They just get on and bicker with each other and talk about all the stuff that's bad. And then there's some shows that's elevated a little bit, and you'll find some women who think differently, right? So there's a few female podcasters who think differently, and some are married, and some are getting married. And then there's some who are kind of rogue, but they think a little bit differently than the bottom of the barrel women. And then you got some women who come out now and talk about the bad behavior, like we like to do, right? And sometimes when the bad behavior of women is talked about, it's better coming out of the mouth of another woman. It's this way because the women can't just say you're just another red pill rager, another man with red pill rage. So I don't disagree with what you're saying, but we could somehow get trapped that all women are like the women that we see on the internet. They and not that there's so much better out there, uh, but it's easy to kind of paint with this broad brush, just like they paint men with a broad brush, right? So there's men, and still even the women who think they're settling for you. That's why I said in the beginning, if you as an individual uh, are courting a woman for marriage, it's you as an individual have to make sure that she's not settling for you, not in the strict sense of the word. If she can't show you that she wants to marry you because for her, you're her best choice, right? And she's got to show you that, not just say it. She's got to show you some evidence of that. Then you'll feel a little bit more comfortable because if a woman's settling for you, how does she really hide that shit? How do they really hide it if you're really looking for whether she's just, she's got a wandering eye. Half the time I can't find her. She still wants to hang on to to the men in her orbit. I got a best friend. If a woman says I got a couple of male best friends, that's a red flag.
Yeah, that brother. That's my brother. That's my brother. Remember that?
Yeah, what about it? Go ahead.
He's my brother.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't blood brothers. That's the guy. That's the guy you are hooking up
how
with.
many men accept that shit? A lot of men accept that kind of bullshit, right? Because she said, I ain't, if it's between you and him, then I'm gonna choose him because we've been together, we've been friends since we were kids. Yeah, he's been trying to bust the cheeks since y'all been kids too, right? So if a woman puts that to you, then you have a choice to make, right? If you can't live with some shit like that, then you don't marry her. And then the other one is if she's an Instagram freak, not making money off of Instagram, but she likes to take butt pics, side boob pics and all that kind of stuff. And she's on there and she counts the likes every day. And you tell us, listen, you know what, you're gonna have to ease up on that. Oh man, no. Hell with you. If it's Instagram or you, I'm picking Instagram. Then your choice is clear. You know what I'm saying? Even if she doesn't say that, there's red flags that women will show you, and men ignore them on a routine basis because men have a scarcity mindset. Too many men. If this woman, she acts like she likes me, and if I don't acquiesce to the shit that she wants, it's gonna take me too long to find another one. So we'll start to bend and start making excuses for her. She's got to be free. It is 2023, 2024. This is the new woman. And no, no. And I told guys no. And then I get a lot of flack because I got married 100 years ago. But still, it's still some basic shit that you have to have. Women still are basic. But they just a little bit unleashed, not a little bit, a lot unleashed because of technology, because of 24/7 news cycle, because of feminism, because of this, because of that, because the puppet masters have all of us fucking dangling and shit,
Yeah.
And the and everybody thinks the puppet masters are women. They're not. They're men. They're men. The patriarchy is in full effect. And a lot of people don't realize that, especially women. So there's commercial benefit to have women so powerful in the marketplace. It's the patriarchy that's trying to move Nikki Haley into position to be president. So it's not women, it's men. So I'm only just trying to say, I don't know, man. So the second video, I got another video. And it's a little longer. Hey, black man, you want to put the second video on so we can, check this one out, Mars. Not that one. That's a song. Don't play that. Don't play that. Don't play that. It's the second video. It's the YouTube video of the lady proposing to her man. Even though it's my song, by the way, but you can't play that. It's copyright. You can't find it? I just
The link you send me when you send me the
I
email
sent you.
what's not working. So I'm trying to check and get it, copy it, and just find it directly.
Oh, it's not working?
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's not allowing me to open it.
All right.
I'll see if I can find it directly for you.
Okay, or maybe I can find it again too. Man, I had it for a long time too. Yeah. All right, Mars. So what else is going on, man? I I had it too. Maybe I'll go to my mail and see if I can find it myself. And remail it maybe. Hmm. Hmm. Oh man, yeah, it ain't working. That's a TikTok video too. You know, it's a TikTok video too, by the way. I'm sorry, yo. Uh,
I can't please mama and his sisters. I asked them where they get him to me.
Thank you.
This is his daughter. She said yeah. His mom said yeah. His sister said yeah.
Oh shit! What you say? Oh, she just set the bar. She just set the bar. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She just set the bar. She proposed.
So with all that being said, I want to thank all y'all for holding my secret.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knew baby except.
Well, okay, boss. What do you think, man? What do you think, man?
That is something new right there.
Okay.
That I mean, in today's, I guess what would they say? In today's world, boys can be girls and girls can be boys, and there's no genders, and I don't know, man. That's wild right there, man. That's
I tell you
wild.
what, man. I was good, man. I mean, listen, but the word I have is repulsed. I was repulsed. I looked at
Wow.
that. I said, listen, I'm just thinking about this, right? This guy, you know, and I hate to say it this way because, and I kind of alluded to it in my own. She gets on her knees, right? And she puts
Hmm.
your hand out and she puts a ring on your hand like you're her bitch, right? That's what it felt
Yep.
like. I mean, you know, and he's crying and stuff. And what they didn't show is that her mother, his daughter, and I think his sister were in on it, you know. And you know, I just said, oh
Wow.
my God, I don't see how. What kind of marriage are they gonna have where you know? She says, you know, you buy, you buy, I'm tired of waiting on your ass. I'm gonna obligate you to take care of me for the rest of your life because you know you. I just look at it and said, this is not the natural order of things. It's just
Nah,
not.
not at all.
I mean, even if
Yeah.
I loved the woman, right? I'm just thinking, is there a way out of it? I would tell her, say, listen, one, I would be mad. I seen another one like this, and I should have had it, where a man or a woman tried to propose to a guy, and he just got up and walked out.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he just got up and said, no way. He picked her up. He just walked out. He said no, because he felt embarrassed. So I'm just saying, listen, I mean, the guy is crying and shit, man. Come on.
That's crazy.
That's not, so what kind of marriage do you think they have? I mean, does he ever regain leadership in that whole situation? She said, well,
It's a
he leaves the house. She
it's a
said, where's your
feminine
ring? Go ahead.
yeah, it's a feminine role. I mean, she took charge, just like just like you say, she asked the daughter and asked the mother, and just like how a guy goes and asks the father, for the daughter's hand in marriage. So
Yeah.
it's just totally a feminine role. I mean, it's I'm not surprised in today's world. It's just so much craziness like this going on.
Well, it's only
Um,
5%. It's only 5% of the marriages like that, right? And what I'm thinking is that this guy doesn't have no real men in his life, right? Or she, and neither does she, right? Because if she didn't talk to any men that she was going to get ready to propose, she talked to 3 different women, and there was probably no man around. Because if my daughter or some female in my family said, I'm gonna propose to a guy, and she came to me, I would say, don't do that. If you want me to talk to him and say, he's taking too long, and he says he wants to marry me, I said, the fact that he didn't propose to you says that he's not ready to marry you. So, and if you propose to him, he might say yes just because he doesn't want to disappoint you or whatever. And so he'll say yes, even though he doesn't want to do it. Because if he wanted to do it, he would propose to you. So this shit, I don't know. They said that happened in 2021 and they're still married. I don't know about I believe it or not, but it's only give it a few more years. And maybe there's some men who don't mind being led by their women. That I was just on
yeah,
another panel. I was just on another panel and a man was making a case for being a house husband.
mm,
He was
no,
making a case. He made a logical case for being a house husband. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he made a lot. Yeah, he made a. You see, his case was. Yeah, I'm gonna just say it. His case was this: that suppose a woman's making more money than you. If you're a house husband and she wants a divorce, who gets the kids? Well, since she's been taking care of everything and you've been a house husband, the court system most likely will make you the sole, caregiver of the kids because that's what you've been doing. That was his first part. And the second part was, since she was making all the money, she would have to pay you child support in reverse. Now, that sounds good on paper, but the court system being such as it is, I'm not so sure that that's the outcome you're going to get. But that was his rationale. And then I left the panel. I didn't get into the questions as to, what about your masculinity? What about the other intangibles of her respect for you and all that kind of shit? He was just trying to keep it on some kind of logical level. And, from that standpoint, okay, you can see a little point, but it's still not the natural order of things. And at some point, that woman is not going to want to be taking care of you, even if you're doing a service by taking care of the kids in the house. She's going to want to, how are you going to be a lion in the bedroom when you coming home and you asking for milk money and beer money and shit? And, and then she's got all those alpha men chasing her around the block. Sooner or later, somebody's going to have a bent over a goddamn desk. Somebody. It's going to happen.
that's true.
Anyway, so what do you think, man? So, yeah.
I mean, it's never a good thing, for you to get out of your masculine frame. We're meant to be leaders. We're meant to be leaders, head of the pack. And if you're not doing that, a woman is not gonna respect you. It may
No,
take a short time or maybe a long time, but eventually it's gonna catch up to the situation. Definitely.
I agree. I mean, I just think that a lot of people don't realize that women have a short fuse, kind of, right? They might put up with shit, but I don't think they put up with, after a while they're gonna get sick of it because they actually want a man who's their alpha. Most women do. Uh, I saw the Ebony K. Williams latest. She was on Earn Your Leisure, and I think she's finally getting it. But the one thing she doesn't say is that she's not really looking for a husband. She's looking for a partner and a companion, right? Because I think she has a baby coming. I think she found a surrogate. She has a baby coming. I think she didn't say this, but she alluded to it. But she never mentioned, and she wants a man, but she never mentions the word husband. She talks about partners and companions. So with her, I understand that maybe she should just write up a partnership agreement with a man, right? A man wouldn't marry her, but a man might want to be her partner. She's pretty, so in the agreement it says maybe 3 times a week I come over, I bust the cheeks, and then then the other 3 days, I patch a little bastard up and down, maybe change a diaper or two for you or some shit, and we share this amount of money, and we do this and we do that, and we live happily ever after. You keep your place, I keep my place, and then we meet in the middle. We take trips together, we do this together, and we kind of have this de facto partnership together as romantic companions. Something a little bit more than friends with benefits, but something less than a husband and wife. That's
Well,
what she wants.
with Ebony K, I kind of call cap on that because she was chasing Brad. Like I think she would submit to a Brad.
No, she wouldn't. She left. She did. She wouldn't. She would. Yeah. It sounds like that, but I give her a little bit of grace because she had a Brad, but she asked the Brad to do something he didn't want to do. Right? Because
Okay,
during
yeah,
the
to stay oh yeah, I remember that. He to stay together during the
pandemic,
pandemic.
she wanted him to stay with her instead of his kids. And he said, no, I can't do that. And she cut it off. So even her, so she wanted the Brad, but she had her limits with the Brad. Now, I don't know her. She has other candidates now, but I don't know if they're black or white. It's a good chance that they might be white, but she
She
actually
comes
talked.
off as very manipulative. She comes off as very manipulative, and you're going to be dealing with a lot of head games and
Only
word
if you're
salad and
married. Only if you're
sticky stuff
married
with
to
it.
her. Only if you marry her. If you're just in a partnership or a companionship, you don't have to put up with that shit. You just go home. Right? That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't marry her. See, because people don't understand that she purposely never mentions husband. And it's subtle because she doesn't admit she doesn't want a husband. But she did admit in this last, it's on Earn Your Leisure. She did admit that she will never give up her power for anybody. She said, I got to this location, I'm not giving up my power. Right? I mean, when somebody says that, you just believe them. You can't go get, okay, it's her power to give. And she started to realize that she's in a 1 or 2, 3%, and she's starting to figure out there's not going to be a million different guys up in that level, right? But she kind of understands now that her words about the bus driver was stupid. But even though she might not want to have a bus driver, and that's fair, you don't have to have a bus driver. But now, when I listened to her this last thing, I say, okay, Ebony, you're not as much of an asshole as I thought, because if you want what you want, but you realize you can't get what you want like that. Hey man, what's going on, Trey? Did you see some of the videos, man? So let me ask you a general question. What do you think about a woman asking a man to marry her?
I think it's a sign of the times we live in.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't agree with it.
That's what I'm asking.
But I think it's a microcosm of the time that we live in right now, and women feel there's a saying: women are empowered because the men are weak. So the women feel empowered to do these things because she's probably more than likely dealing with a weak man.
Yeah, that's true. That's not a lie. But one of the things I think is that the women of today enjoy the freedoms that they do because the patriarchy is in full effect, right? And they don't realize that because the Western men have gone a long way in trying to make women safe. That's why the laws are the way they are, right? So women can I mean, they abuse it. But a lot of things that the laws are in the West, like American women are the freest women in the world, I believe. That's why they're so arrogant because they take advantage of that. I mean, can a woman come outside near butt naked in most countries in this world? I don't think so. Beside the West, that's only because they feel comfortable that the average man is not going to accost them, or violate them. And I think that's because men have set it up that way. Now, I don't know, but you mentioned something about commercialism, right? The commercial puppet masters. They like women out there spending money, and part of that spending money is for them to be single and free to do it, So, and then there's no corollary for men, right? Because again, even though, and I said this before, that even though men might be the apex predator against women, women are the apex predators against men. It's not physical, but women could destroy men in so many different ways. And we see that all around us, right? And there's no real laws. They get passes for that, So, I don't know how to balance that. So when I look at the gate for marriage, that's one of the last things I think belongs to men. I think that's one of the last entry level things where a man has to ask a woman to marry her. And whether she says yes or no, he's accountable for who he lets in. And a lot of guys get married for the wrong reasons, or they don't vet properly, or they don't have the 25-step list like you got. They don't have the 25-step list. Hey, boy, said my man here got a list he got a list so long the women can't get past the first 5. I remember you told me that he said that shit.
That might be a good idea, man. Because you got to vet these chicks, man. I mean, you never know what they got on their mind,
never
man.
get to 100% though, man. That's what I'm saying. So,
well, the goal isn't to
guaranteed.
The goal isn't to make the women feel inadequate. The goal is to see if the woman fits what I need going forward, right? That's all it is. And I truly believe that. I think I know which video you're talking about. I think I know which video of the guy getting proposed to, right? I think I've seen it before. Well, had he vetted properly, that would have never happened, right? Because he would have known that this isn't the woman that I need to be with. Because had he vetted properly, he would have known that this woman is probably a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more masculine than what I'm looking for.
That could be a different video, but still.
And so when these guys don't vet, and you got to remember, for the longest time, men really didn't vet. Y'all kind of just went along with it back in the day. Like, all right, she's decent, she's good looking, she's classy, but the quality of woman was different. I don't think y'all really had to do in-depth vetting the way
not
we
like
have
you have
to
to
today.
do today. No, not like today. I agree with that. Even though I think I did. I think I had a lot of meaningful conversations with my wife, but I don't think it was normal. I don't think it was as normal because I was engaged once before. I was engaged a couple of years before, and I should have never been engaged with that woman. I should, even though she was cool, but we had so many red flags between us. I should have never asked her that, but I did anyway. And it just didn't work out. Thank God,
And that's what I think truly the red pill is about. Like when I think red pill, everybody has their own definition of what it is. But when I think red pill, I think there are men who are waking up to, okay, listen, I need to do X, Y, and Z to choose the best woman. I don't see all this other stuff and being mean to women and I don't consider that a part of the red pill. I consider red pill just being these guys are waking up and saying, hey, look, I need to make sure that she fits the standard, whatever that standard may be in your own life, but that she fits the standard before I commit to this woman. And I think what we're realizing is that when men started to have standards, women couldn't. They couldn't. It was like, wait a minute, I can't live up to that. And because this whole notion, like, and I'm just going to use this as an example, this whole notion that women weren't working back in the day is a lie. It's one of the biggest lies I've ever heard. Yes, black women have always worked. I don't know where this came from. And so, and they went to work and they still took care of home. And they still took care of their husband. So all that lends to is that these generations are just lazy in comparison to the previous generations. Right? And so I think the red pill is waking up and realizing, wait a minute, my grandmother went to work, and she had a husband, and she had kids, and the house was never dirty, and she cooked. Why can't I get a woman like my grandmother?
Forget it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but forget it. Hey, listen, you know what? Trigger Mike had a show last night. And we went to like 3 in the morning or something. I just didn't know. And somehow I don't get the notifications. It just popped up. And Dee Dee was on there. And she was saying the same thing. She was talking about the women back then. They only were together with men because they couldn't leave. And I told her, I said, wait, that's not true. I said, all my aunts from the silent generation, they all worked. And they worked so long that they got pensions. So if they wanted to leave, they could have sustained themselves. I said, what are you talking about? She said, and she didn't want to. She just went completely off.
Our pain, most of them had government jobs. My grandmother's silent generation. She had a government job. She worked for the Department of Interior. She worked in the budgeting office, and she retired with a pension.
That's right.
And she had a husband, and she took care of her kids in her house.
So I said, what are you talking about? They were trapped. I said, they if they wanted to leave, they could have made it. They had jobs. So she didn't want to hear it.
And so, like, this whole idea, like, that women have been doing. My grandmother bought her own house, and my mother bought her house in 1993. Women have listen. We've got a lot of people telling a lot of false narratives and a lot of lies that's spewing on YouTube, and they're not telling the truth, especially about women. When the truth really is, just at the end of the day, this generation and the generation to come is just lazy. There's no other way to put it. They're just flat out lazy. Because I see women of other cultures go to work, have a husband, have kids, and they're working too, but yet they can still get married. There's something not there. Something's not right. Something's not clicking with our community, and I think it's because our community. There's a saying: when other communities catch a cold, we catch the flu. We always get it the worst, right? And for whatever reason, feminism and all this other stuff, our community got it the worst. We got everything the worst. And I've watched videos day in and day out of women who are basically I posted one today. Basically, women are just like, I don't really need a man. But then she started looking around at the thing. She's like, I don't know how to do any of this. Like, she was looking around. She's like, I don't know how to do anything in this house. Maybe I do need a man. Yeah, maybe you do, for more than just the manual labor, though.
Right. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. So the whole purpose of this show was just to say, listen, we only have a few things left as men. And who you let into your inner sanctum is your account. You got to be accountable for that. And again, like you said, it's harder to do that now. But what a way to mitigate that, I think, is to broaden your horizons. Like you're kind of saying, don't just look at black women. And don't have to indict the black women. You just want to have as many options as you want. Now, if you find a black woman who fits the mold, great. But if you don't feel guilty about opening your horizons. Now, I'm starting to think about, I used to be blackity black, but I don't think we should think that way anymore. And that's why a lot of women have problems with the quote unquote passport bros, right? Because every one of those guys are not passport bros. Some of them are grown men. I know a guy, he has a YouTube channel. He's married to a Brazilian woman. Right, and he brought her back to the States, but he ain't worrying about her becoming Americanized. He got a son, he got this. He's El Guapo. That brother, man. He's if you ever saw some of his stuff.
I watch Beautiful Lies all the time.
Yeah, so he's got some good stuff. So he's the kind of mature man I'm talking about. Zoom to Thailand, a few other guys. Austin Holloman got a way to go, but he's
also 24, and so the expectation isn't that he get married tomorrow.
That's right. He's a young man.
I venture to say it's probably going to be another 5 years before he even starts to seriously consider getting married, and that would be right around the average right time of a marriage. He's about 30 years old, and so I don't have a problem with anything. I always have an issue with the liars. I don't like the liars, right?
Yeah,
Just
I
tell
agree
the
with
truth. I think we have to get away from this idea that it isn't what it is when it actually is what it is. Like there are just some people who travel. We know what they're traveling for. Guys who's
that.
going to Sasua, we know what you're
Right.
going to Sasua for. Go have a good time. Be safe, right? Guys that are going to
Right.
Medellin, we know y'all going to Park Jairus. We know what y'all doing, but go have fun. Go be safe, right? But don't lie
Yeah.
about it and say, "Oh, I'm a passport boy. I'm looking for a wife." No, you're not, sir. We
No.
know you're not. Just be honest about it, and that's fine. I think what we've gotten away from as men is I think we are trying to please other people by not telling. It's almost like we're trying to be politically correct now.
Right.
And it's like
Right.
why are we being politically correct? We're men.
Yeah.
We tell it like
Yeah.
it is. We
I,
call it like it is.
I
Go ahead,
always
Mark.
feel like the black man, as black men, we always feel like we owe the community everything. We owe the community.
Yeah.
We gotta fight for the community and stand up for the community. What are the other side doing? Are they doing their part in the community? Are the women in our community doing a part? We they go out and be with a white guy and no one bats an eye, but we go get a white girl or Spanish chick or something. And I mean,
Oh,
we're like the devil himself. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
It's
I
just
know.
it's
There's a lot of sisters.
just
They
crazy.
don't like the Spanish girls, man. The guys with the Spanish girls, that man, it's almost up there on par with the white girls, man.
Our pain. I saw a video today of a woman, and she's saying, "Look, if my man wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning because he want a steak and potatoes, I'm gonna get up and make him steak and potatoes." And then it cuts to a thing, and she was like, this is our problem as women. And I was just like, this is why y'all losing. Now, granted, how many men are truly going to ask you at 3 in the morning?
Very, very little.
It's not going to happen. That's not the point.
That's the guy who might come in after work at 2:30 in the morning. If you were smart, you would have something ready for him.
But Arpan, you know what the truth is? Most of those men are pretty much okay with you leaving the food in the microwave.
That's what I'm saying. You would just have something ready, and that's it.
Just leave the food in the microwave. That happened to me all the time, babe. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Your food is in the microwave. Just heat it up when you get in. Cool, no problem. Most men are not like oh, you mean you're not gonna get out of bed and sear me up a steak and peel potatoes. Most guys are not doing that. They're not doing that. But that's always a thought. It's always this sort of extreme thought process. And the difference is the overseas women, while they know that we're not going to do it, if you were to ask her, hey, would you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and cook for me? She's like, yeah, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
But she know we're not going to do it.
Yeah, that's some funny shit, man. I mean, I heard those scenarios. I said, ooh, you know what? As long as I've been married, I never asked my wife to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make me something to eat. I ain't supposed to be eating that late anyway. That's why you such a fat ass.
Nobody does that. Like seriously, like who is the lunatic that would ask his wife to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make a steak? Nobody does that. The question really is, and it's the same question as what do you bring to the table? The question is are you in this with me? How far are you willing to go in this? Are you in this fight with me that if I needed a meal at 3 o'clock in the morning, do you have my back?
Right.
And the answer for a lot of women in our community is no, I don't have my back.
No way. No. I mean, even when it comes to making a sandwich, I'll do all the gymnastics for you in the bedroom. But if you ask me to make a sandwich, that's where I draw the line, goddammit. I mean, which is really crazy, man.
and so the women proposing to the men, this is just a representation of all of that. Is that now, like you said, they're so empowered now that I can ask him to marry me. I'm the man now, right? I'm the man now. No. I married you. You didn't marry me. I married you.
Wait. I don't think you saw the video. I'm gonna show you. I want you to see this. Hey, Black David, can you put on that video again in the woman proposing? Well, I think you saw a different one, but this one, man, it kind of curdled my.
The crazy part, I done seen about 4 of them.
There's a lot. If you saw it, we could just. I don't know if you're back there, Black David. If we could play that one. He
said, give him a second.
Okay, cool. Oh, I didn't see that.
But yeah, I mean, I saw the last one. It's the same thing. Like I don't know. I've never been married, but I've been to a bunch of marriages. I mean, a bunch of weddings. I've never seen men cry at the weddings, but I've seen a lot of men crying, boo-hooing on these videos. I'm like, she's not even crying. I can understand if she was crying. She's not even crying.
Okay. This,
About a month ago.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
he saw this one.
No, let it run. Let it run.
Yeah, let it run. Okay, let it run.
This is his daughter. She said yeah.
She
His mom
said,
said
yeah.
yeah.
His mother said, yeah.
Said yeah.
His sister said, yeah.
Look at him, R-Pain. Look at him.
I
Look at
know,
him.
I saw him.
Look at him.
Look at him. You my bitch now.
Look at him. R-Pain, we are doomed. Look at him.
I
Look at
swear
him.
to God. Watch him put the ring on his finger.
She just set the bar.
She set the bar.
He said the ball.
She set the bar. Look at you, my bitch now. You know? Oh my God.
She proposed.
Yes, that is so nice. So with all that being said, I want to thank all y'all for holding my secret.
Yes, sir.
Look at him, R-Pain. Look at him.
I know. Oh my God.
R-Pain, let me tell you something. Let me tell you what the biggest issue in this is. Because this is where, if this were to happen to me, I would be upset with her and I'd deal with her. But let me tell you who I'd really get on. Did you hear she said, I talked to his sister.
Yeah.
I talked to his mother.
Mother.
So at no point in time did any of these women say, hold on, baby. Hold on a second. This not right. The way you're going about this isn't the right way to do this. None of them intercepted. None of them intervened and said, don't do it this way, because this isn't the proper way to do things. They encouraged it, which is also a microcosm of the time that we are in.
There was no man to be found in the loop for her to say.
Yeah, she certainly didn't say she asked his dad.
His dad might not have been there. There ain't no dad. You know, because listen, if I was a father and I saw my son react that way to some woman putting a finger on a ring on his finger, I'd feel like a failure as a father. Because I know we would have had that talk before. You know, shit. If you're gonna get married, you propose to a woman. That's the thing that prompted me to say, let's talk about this. It's crazy. I mean, you're right, man. There's no coming back from how far we've fallen. It's only what happens in the future. It only happens what happens in the future. I don't know where that nexus of guys and gals are going to come from. You know what I'm saying? That will think differently. And they're starting to say that some of the Crimson Cure had a video where in the past the comments would be for the Sukihanas and Meg Thee Stallions, but the comments she's starting to get now are women saying, you know what, how come we just don't leave that in 2023? Why don't we do better? Why don't we look at some other way to go? The women who are coming after the passport bros is another indication that women are starting to realize that they're being left alone. Ebony K. Williams, in her new video on Earn Your Leisure, she even said it herself that women have priced themselves out of the market. Because I've said that before, but she actually said it herself. Now, she was saying it from her lofty level because she makes a lot of money, but it's a microcosm of a lot of women think that they deserve more. They deserve more than they're worth. A lot of them. They expect a life of leisure and they can't even pay their own rent.
Yeah, I mean, we got a video of a woman who has over 2,000 bodies talking about what jobs a man can't have.
Yeah,
this woman has over 2,000 bodies.
2,000 bodies, and she acts like somebody's supposed to listen to what she has to say. 2,000 bodies. She's not even a good whore. And let me tell you, because if she was a good one, all you need is 10 good bill payers. The 10 big clients.
That is true. You don't need 2,000.
2,000.
That is true. And 2,000 and you still broke.
Yeah, and you still broke.
How about that? 2,000 and you still broke.
Go ahead. Here's my problem. I can't even fathom the numbers. As I'm a grown man, I don't think I've shaken 2,000 people's hands. I don't even, how do you have sex with 2,000 people?
And
You
remember,
know?
this is self-admittedly. She said this.
Yeah,
Nobody put this on her. This
yeah.
came out of her own mouth. The issue, a lot of this issue is, and I've said this before with the passport bros. What this really is if you think about a sports team, right? There are certain times where the players aren't playing up to standard anymore, and you have to
No.
start to trade them out, and you have to start to draft other players. I think as a whole, not all, but as a whole, collectively, black women are not playing up to standard. And I think what you're seeing black men who are starting to draft and trade a lot of these players out and getting new life and new blood into the community. I'm not saying that it's right, but I do truly think that a lot of the black community is going to it's going to be a lot of black men. And that number of 85% are still married to black women. I have a feeling within the next 15 years that number is going to be less than 50%. And you're going to have less than half of black men are going to be married and or in a serious relationship with a black woman, because the way this is going, and with the way that movement is picking up speed. You watch Average Man Unplugged? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So if you watch just any live he usually does them on a Friday or Saturday night.
You said Average Man Unplugged?
Average Man Unplugged, right?
Okay.
When you go through his chat, all you see is guys saying, "I got my passport. I got my passport. I got my passport. I picked it up. I applied for it this morning. I did That's all you'll see in the chat is guys saying, giving updates. I finally got mine. I booked my first trip to here. I booked my first trip to here. Yada. And he's actually doing a meetup in Germany. He's doing a meetup in Germany with guys. This thing, listen, this is just the beginning. You have Richie Mack, who's getting ready to do his. He's doing a meetup in December.
Yes,
he's doing this meetup in December. These things are just going to start to gain. And once guys keep seeing, man, I'm telling you, I keep seeing a lot of guys with their teeth showing. And Andrea love crossing borders. He's in Medellin, Colombia with his wife. He sure does smile a lot.
Yeah.
Richie Mack sure does smile a lot.
Smile a lot. Yeah. These guys are happy as hell.
These guys are happy.
They're happy as hell. You know what? Let me ask you a question. You too, Mars. Suppose in the next 100 years, what we consider as African Americans in the United States no longer exists as a subculture. Is that apocalyptic or not? Because if the numbers get that low, now when a black man, I think whoever we sleep with whether she's white or Asian or anything, I think the kids are still black.
Kids are still black, right?
Yeah, the kids are still black, you know. So does it have to be an African American woman for your kids to still be black? I don't think so.
I think what you're going to see in the community is, like I said, you're going to see a lot of black men, but you won't see a lot of married to black women.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to, because even now where I live in Maryland, you see a lot of black men, you see white women, Asian women, Spanish women.
Yeah.
That's what you see. And every once in a blue moon, you'll see a full-on black couple, but majority of the time, it's a mixed couple.
You know what's another thing that's going to be an indication that you're going to see a precipitous drop-off of black men voting for Democrats.
Yep.
I think that's true too. You're going to see, we're going to diverge from the black women voting for all that bullshit they keep voting for. The black men say, we ain't getting nothing out of this party, so I think that's going to happen too. So we'll start seeing indicators of a lot of different ways where men are starting to say, you know what, we're tired of getting this shit under the stick, and it's as simple as that. So I try to prepare my daughters to understand that men are making a different kind of move, and I said, listen, the fact that y'all don't have any children is not a negative, it's a plus. Because if a man's looking for a woman who's fertile and don't have any kids, man, you guys fit in the warehouse. Especially if they want a black woman who's of age, got, each one of them are set up. If they get married, they'd have to have prenups. They'd have to have prenups.
Yeah, that could be a deterrent.
Yeah.
Some guys, that might be a deterrent. And for
Well,
other guys, it might not be.
Yeah, well, I hope that the guys they look, that they meet would want to have a prenup too. So so I mean, yeah, it could be a deterrent, but they can't marry nobody with what they got without protecting themselves somehow. So anyway, I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough out there, man. I mean, I don't know why I got on these YouTube streets, man. They're taking me, man. I'm supposed to be going off into the sunset and shit, happy and bliss, with my memories and
Yeah,
shit.
you don't went down the rabbit hole. That's the problem. Once you go down that rabbit hole, it's hard to
You
get
can't
out
unsee
of it.
it. You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
man, but
and it's unfortunate, ultimately in the in the utopian sense of of the world, would we want for our relationships with Black women to work out? Of course. Who doesn't
yeah,
want that? Who doesn't want that? But you can't deny the results, right?
right,
If you look at the
right,
statistics about international marriages, they have a lower divorce rate, and they
right,
have a tendency to last longer, whether it's here in America or
right.
overseas, right? And you look at a lot of these guys when they're reporting back, they're not reporting back, frustrations. Yes, do every now and then you get a couple and it didn't work out, and maybe she
Yeah,
got
yeah,
them, but we can always pinpoint it back to, okay, well, you only looked at her from behind, so that's why you got caught up, right?
yeah, yeah,
But these
yeah,
guys who actually take their time and vet these women overseas, they typically have long lasting,
yeah.
happy marriages, and there's no issue. And again, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is really a bigger issue because Black men popularized it. White men been doing it since I don't know
Yeah.
when.
I watched
All
this
all of
guy,
my
Legion.
great uncles that were in the
Yeah,
Vietnam War and Korean War and
uh,
all that, they have
yeah,
foreign wives. All of them got foreign wives.
yeah.
This ain't nothing new. But
That's not.
because a collective of Black men said we're going to make this popular now, it's like, oh hell no.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I mean, I watched this guy. I think it's Legion of Men. It's a white dude who's a passport bro, and
What's the
he's
name?
been doing. I think Legion of Men.
Oh yeah,
He's a
he just moved to Romania.
yeah, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, he's something else, man. He gets on there, And here's another guy. He's a handsome dude, enjoying his life, and and all the stuff we talk about, he talks about the same shit with the white women. It's funny. It's funny as
Yeah,
hell.
because people want to make it a black and white issue.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
Western issue. It's
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 a
it's
Western
it's
issue.
it's a culture issue, and that white men and even now American-born Spanish men are having the same problems. They're all
Oh,
having
is
the
that
same
right?
problem with their
Okay.
women. They're all having the
Oh,
same problems, which is why
yeah.
I got a homeboy that I was in the military with that said he's El Salvadorian and something else. I forgot. He said he
Okay.
went home and got his wife. He said, man, forget that. He went back to where his family is from, went home and got a woman,
Right, right.
got an El Salvadorian woman. He said, yeah, they're El Salvadorian here, Mexican here, but they're also
Yeah,
American too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They've been corrupted.
Uh,
Is we
well,
I feel like
that.
we had Kevin Samuels. He spoke on these issues, and that was the call for women to wake up. And then at this point, they seem like they're not changing. They're not changing. They're not reforming. So now it's like you either deal with what's here, try to find a unicorn, or you go overseas, get you a foreign bride, a foreign wife. Hopefully somebody just got a traditional mindset and a good disposition and very submissive, because it's just not happening as much now. It's just the feminism or
I mean,
whatever it
yeah,
is.
go ahead. When I ask you, one of the things I think we don't have to even emphasize is just very submissive. I mean, how much submission do you really need if a woman is cooperative? You know what I'm saying? I think we should just kind of sunset that word, because you'll know submission when you see it. You know what I'm saying? Without saying, because it muddies the waters, right? Because it's hard for you to even, you just want somebody cooperative enough that you could deal with, who has culture and has tradition. And you combine all that shit, submission kind of comes with a lot of that stuff, you know, without even saying it, because it's just hard to define, right? It's easy for people to derail your conversation when you use certain words, and that's what
Nobody
I'm,
asking about submission on these dates, man.
yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah,
never been on a date and asked a woman
yeah,
how
yeah.
submissive she
I don't
is.
even know
I've
how to
never
ask
asked.
that.
Never
But I
ask
don't
that
even
question.
know how to ask that.
You
You know,
don't,
so
because as you said, our pain, it'll show itself.
yeah,
It'll show itself.
yeah,
I'll know how difficult, how argumentative she is, how combative she is during the course of our interactions. She
right.
can't hide it, and even if she does try to hide it, eventually it will rear
It's
its
gonna
ugly head.
show up.
It's gonna
It's
come out
gonna show up.
eventually.
There's no
It
doubt
is. No, I don't
about
have to go into this and say, "Oh, are you the submissive type?" I've never had to ask that
it.
question one bit. Again, I've always said this. I think that the submission thing, it is, and you're right. It should be put out to the sunset. It should be put out like old Yeller that caught rabies and just take it out seriously, because it's not a real thing. It's a YouTube
Right.
talking point. It
Yes.
really is. It's a YouTube. It's a YouTube talking point.
I agree.
Men don't go out on dates and ask. For the woman that's submissive. Here's
Yeah.
what we do. We say, hey, I plan this date to go here. Wear this. Don't, wear this. And we can tell by your reaction if you're cooperative and agreeable. If you give me a hard time on that, I don't want to go there. The Cheesecake Factory girl, prime example.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask her if she's submissive. I already know,
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
You don't even want to go have food at a decent
A
restaurant.
decent restaurant.
So I already know you're not submissive. I don't need to ask you, are you submissive? I already know.
I agree, man. So I think that's one we could put to bed in 2023, man, and just move on. Uh, you know, yeah. So anyway, did the Buffalo just score again? Shit. The Steelers try to make a game of it.
By the way, I'm 4 for 4 on my picks.
What? I blew the Dallas.
You remember the picks that I made?
No, but I believe you. I mean, I blew the Dallas one. I blew the Dallas one. I had Buffalo winning.
I did.
You
can.
I didn't say
There
that.
is footage. It is recorded on the 1-and-1
Yeah.
show. I made
Yeah.
my picks and I said Packers over Cowboys, upset alert.
They didn't just upset.
I can't wait to
They
throw that
whipped-
in y'all face on Wednesday.
They whipped that. Oh, what, you gonna stop? Oh, which one? The night show? Or what? I got my own sports show too, man. You should come
No,
on.
I'm talking about the Wednesday show before JT show comes on this
Okay.
network.
Yeah, so I got a sports show too. So, but it ends before the one over here because I come over here after mine is over. So I'm definitely going to be chopping it up. I have a couple of people showing up for that. So,
Eagles Buck game is the only game that gives me a little pause.
who do you have? Eagles?
I picked the Eagles, yeah, but I picked
And
the
then, like,
Bills. I picked the Bills to win, to beat the Steelers.
well, the Steelers caught back up and then they just blew it. They got it to 7 points and then they just gave up another touchdown.
Eagles are a little bit shaky right now.
And they're playing who did I
Bucks,
pick?
Tampa Bay,
I think Tampa Bay's gonna beat them, man.
Baker Mayfield on them.
I think I might have picked Tampa Bay, but I got to go back and look at my picks. But anyhow, man, we'll see, man. I will be all talking about it this Wednesday because I'm gonna show up to the sports show over here as well. Because I come over there, so I get to. So that's cool, man. We chop it up, man. You can never get enough talking sports. But anyhow, gentlemen, I know this was a good tough day to have this thing because people watching the games and all that shit is early. Why don't we got any final thoughts? Hey, Red Planet, you got any final thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta keep talking about it, putting the word out here because right now, the ship is going the wrong way. The ship is going the wrong way and it needs to turn around. That's my final
So let me ask you. So just putting the word out, listen. And I agree with you. So, but what kind of word would you think gets the best traction? You know what I'm saying? How do we do it? How do we start to create the momentum? I mean, we got the momentum, I think, coming up. I think
we gotta criticize it, when these women are being masculine, when these guys are acting feminine, when you got these women Sexy Red and the other chicks or whatever with that, hip hop, the music they doing, that's super hypersexual, that's too sexual.
Well, that's what I would say. You said two things though, brother. You said when the women are being masculine, I think we overuse that a little bit too. But when the men are being effeminate, right? Or when the men are showing too many female traits or taking their side, which one you think will get more traction? Us corrected men who talk out of turn, or try to correct the women, since we've been trying to do that for decades? I just
I
think
feel
that
like
we
we
just,
gotta do both. Gotta do
I,
both at the same
yeah,
time because
I agree with you. I just think that we need more
it's
women
messed up.
I think we need to recruit more women to talk to women about their bad behavior.
That's
I
true
just
too.
think that, I just think we need a little bit more, but I don't disagree with you. So you're right on. How about you, Trey? What's your final thought?
Yeah, any woman who proposes to a man, it says more about the man than it does about the woman.
I think so.
So, you know, if that that's the case, I know a lot about you without having to speak a word to you. I know how things go in your house and how they're gonna go in your house from here on
Yeah.
out. And the other part of this is too. I've said this before in 2024. If you're a woman and you're not speaking out against this nonsense, you are complicit. You are much a part of the problem as anything. You need to be speaking out. You need to be saying. You guys have social media. Women are on social media all day, every
Right.
day.
That's
And
right.
if you are not posting saying this is wrong, and speaking out against it, then I'm going to assume that you are okay with it and that you are a part of it. In this day and age, I am only going with the actions and the words of the people or how they say it. So if you don't speak up and say this is how this goes, or I'm not with this, or I am against it, I'm going to make the assumption that you are with it and you are for it. So if you are not speaking out against women who are taking a knee and proposing to men, I'm going to assume that you are okay with it, just
Yeah.
like that dude's sister and mama was.
I hear you, man. All
And if you
right, man.
notice,
Go ahead.
if you
Go ahead.
notice that story that came out where they had the little kids with the the poles. If you understand that story I'm
Oh
talking about.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I do.
there I haven't seen any women, any females say, "Hey, man, this is too far, man. This is too far. This has got to stop. This is sick." And it's like we're the only moral compass in this thing. They had like Trey said, the women have to speak up, man. The women are gonna have to speak up. They're gonna have to start speaking up on this stuff because their silence is like condoning it.
I agree. So, I appreciate it, fellas. Listen, here's my thing. It'll be nice because I know at least 5 or 6 female content creators that don't go for this shit. It'd be nice for them to kind of tag team at least once a week, maybe have a panel of women who are against this trifling stuff that's going on and have a conversation as a coalition. It'd be nice to see like a panel with the Crimson Cure and Dee Dee or Chantel. And I don't know how well these women get together and get along with each other. But a lot of them have, not a lot of them, but take heed the message on the panel. And some other, women who don't like to see what women are doing because somehow their voices need to be amplified. I have videos on my channel called "Let the Women Tell It." So as I go through TikTok and other things where women are telling other women shit about their wrongdoing, I try to clip it and I put some stuff out there. There's a white lady who's married to a brother. I forgot what her name is. She's on YouTube.
Soraya
So,
Brooks,
yeah, man. I
and
know
she's
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 pissing.
German too, by the way.
Yeah, I know she's pissing a lot of sisters off, man. She says some good shit, man. And her husband's black. And she's yeah. So you know who I'm talking about. And of course, and she's bold with it because she knows that the sisters can't stand the fact to see that shit come out of a white woman's mouth, and she don't care. She just doesn't care.
You ever see
So
how happy
anyway,
her husband is? That man be smiling, showing them
she's,
teeth, boy.
yeah, she's pretty good looking too, man. So I imagine he's not unhappy anywhere in the house. Anyway, hey, with that, fellas, thanks for coming up. Now, this is a short one, but that's cool, man. I just wanted to get this over and talk about it, and I got enough. I appreciate you coming up, Trey and Mars. Thank you. Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Black David. Yep, next time. We'll
See you
see.
next time.
Yep, good, good. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Black David. We're done.
lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute, work hard for the car, so that's why it's all tinted. Wait a minute, had a real late night, woke up with my head spinning out in Nashville. It's been mad real, I need sunglasses, I need Advil. I like fake moves, and my cash real. I like first place, you're in last still. Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.
Look, pocket rocket in my pocket, please don't make me pop it. All these boys just wanna copy the style, tell them niggas stop it. Whoa, this my destiny, feeling like LaToya, like it found me my Beyonce, and she shotgun in the cockpit. Grinding with the team, making C-notes. In my pocket still full of green, call it CeeLo. Alligator watch on me, Tim Tebow. And these haters love to watch me like Tebow. Look, I don't take L's, I just learn a lesson. Before I count the M's, always count my blessings. Look, I'm too short, never second guessing. Got some money, put up for the rain, so I'm never stressing.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the